Law of mechanics. It consists of Newton's first law of motion, second law of motion, as well as third law of motion. Electric motor, it is the one which is used to convert electric energy to the mechanical energy. Usually you see this photoelectric effect at your home, that is solar panels. They can delete the total amount of mass which is present over there so that it can be accelerated to a greater height. Hello everyone, I am Brinda, Faculty of Physics, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Mysuru, welcoming you all to the session 2 of Bridge course. Okay, so today in our class we will be studying a little bit detailed about the Bridge course which I was taking up in my last session, that is session 1. Okay, now let us study regarding the discoveries. Having the basic foundation of the physics, many of them have discovered too many things at present as well as earlier. So the present is just a modification of whatever they have discovered earlier and a few little modifications or maybe new inventions. And few of the discoveries which I'll be going to discuss here is, now let me consider Archimedes. He has discovered regarding the principle of buoyancy as well as principle of lever. Okay, it is not the human body lever. I'll come into it after explaining you regarding buoyancy. So here you can see the image. What is happening? A toy duck is floating on the water. So what is happening? The gravitational force, due to the gravitational force, the toy doll is upon the water, right? But why is it floating? That float is due to the upward thrust. Upward thrust. The pressure which is exerted upward. So gravitational pressure is acting downwards and upward thrust is acting upwards. So what happens to the object? It starts floating. That is nothing but principle of buoyancy that you have already studied in your 10th standard. And now it is principle of lever. So what is that lever? It is a beam which is pivoted at a hinge. It is a fixed hinge. So the distance between both the sides is one and the same. So what is that principle of lever? When an equal force acting in opposite direction on the lever, that is, it is a beam which is pivoted on a hinge. Okay, so this is a equal distance and equal distance. So when equal force is acting in opposite direction at the same distance, at a uniform distance, okay, what happens to it? It attains the state of equilibrium. That is nothing but the principle of lever which was given by Archimedes. So you got to know that one such discoveries. So similarly, there are few other discoveries. I have picked some of the discoveries for you. So the next is Galileo. Galilei, what did he do? Law of inertia. He just founded law of inertia as well as the telescope, which is the one which is used to observe the distant objects. So law of inertia, what does this law of inertia state? That is, an object is at rest until an external force acts upon it. Until an external force is acted upon it, the object is at a state of rest. That is nothing but law of inertia. Another one is discovered telescope. That is the instrument which is used to see the distant objects. So I hope you got to know this discovery of his. So let me go to the next discovery for you people. That is Isaac Newton. What did Isaac Newton do? So he discovered this law of mechanics. He gave you the law of mechanics, and he gave an idea of this gravitation as well as reflecting telescope. So here, mechanics, law of mechanics, it consists of Newton's first law of motion, second law of motion, as well as third law of motion. So what does this Newton first law of motion state? It is nothing but law of inertia, whatever I had discussed earlier. The same thing, that is, an object is at state of rest until and unless an external force is compelled on it. That is Newton's first law of motion. Second law of motion gives you as force is equal to mass into acceleration. F is equal to ma, which you have studied. That is all about the second law. And the third law is, it is favorite for each and everyone. That is, for every action there is equal and opposite reaction, which is your favorite law. So all three laws was given by this Isaac Newton, as well as he gave the concept of gravitational force. So that is gravitation, and he also introduced reflecting telescope. So reflecting telescope, how does it work? Reflecting telescope captures the image, like we just observe the object. So the object image, the light falls through the mirror, it passes through the mirror and gets reflected back, so that the clarity is much better when compared to that of refracting telescopes. Okay, so this is all about the discoveries of Isaac Newton and many more discoveries, wherein I have picked only few of the discoveries for you to know how the modification of the basic foundation of physics was taken place in better ways. So the technology also improved because of this. Knowing the basic concepts of physics, just you can go higher and higher regarding the subject. So next is discoveries of Michael Faraday. So Michael Faraday, he discovered electric motor and dynamo transformer. Here dynamo transformer is the one which converts mechanical energy into electrical energy. That is usually used in the power stations. As you all know, the general use I am talking about. Then electric motor, it is the one which is used to convert electric energy to the mechanical energy. That is ceiling fans, right? Refrigerators, all these use electric motor. So the next one is Albert Einstein, discoveries of Albert Einstein. So he discovered one of the concept what I am taking. He has discovered many of the things, but out of which I have picked up only one of the discovery of Albert Einstein, that is photoelectric effect. What happens in the photoelectric effect? So if you just consider this as a metal plate, as the light photons falls upon the plate, the electrically charged particles just move away. It escapes from the metal plate. That is nothing but photoelectric effect. Okay. So the electrons move out of it is ejected out of the metal plate as the light, that is light photons, falls on the metal plate. Okay. So that is all about your photoelectric effect, and that was introduced by Albert Einstein. It was introduced by Albert Einstein. So usually you see this photoelectric effect at your home, that is solar panels. A detailed study of how this is affected, you can study in your upcoming classes. So these are all the discoveries which was taken place earlier. So now we students have studied these achievements or discoveries or inventions of the scientists earlier. Having these ideas, having this as a foundation, what we have done, we have just thought. We have thought, and we have come into different modification having the same base, having the same foundation. So we have got an idea of modifying, that is modification or new inventions. Modifications and new inventions. This was taken up after that. Okay, so the same idea or concept have gone into these scientists as Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein and many more. But afterwards, we have taken their concept as a base for their theory, as a base for things, for whatever we are doing, and improve the theory or improve the concept or ideas and come into the new discoveries. For example, let us take capsule endoscopy. So students, what do you mean by this endoscopy? Endoscopy, it is nothing but it is used to detect the functioning of the internal organs. So you have seen in hospitals and all, they doing doctors taking up this endoscopy, right? That is nothing but looking or observing at the function of the internal organs, because we just know the functioning of the external organs, right? We don't know how the internal organs function, whether it is functioning properly or not. So in order to see that, endoscopy was introduced. But nowadays, capsule endoscopy they are using. The capsule endoscopy is nothing but it's just a capsule which is of the size vitamin tablet. Okay, so this capsule is just, it enters our body, we just swallow it. What happens in the sense, the camera which is present over there, it detects the image, it captures the image. It detects the malfunctioning of the organs or the better functioning of the organs. So the complete capturing of the organ is taken place and it is recorded. So we receive it from the belt which is placed upon our waist. So that is how this capsule endoscopy works. So if this is interesting, please do go and study what exactly is capsule endoscopy in detail, students. So after this capsule endoscopy, let us go to the multi-use rocket, that is multi-stage rocket. Why were it introduced? There was a single stage rocket, single to multi-stage rockets. That is because in order to accelerate, so they can delete the total amount of mass which is present over there so that it can be accelerated to a greater height. Okay, so that is why this multi-use rocket were used. And next discovery is inventions in astrophysics. They have discovered too many things in astrophysics, and as well as even now the discoveries are going on. Okay, and nanotechnology was also the other one which they had introduced. So now the inventions of nanotechnology is a very higher level. So nanotechnology, so even in UV creams also you see the UV sunscreens. So it is in UV protection elements like UV sunscreens, you can even see this nanotechnology. So it is most widely used technology now. So you got to know how exactly the discoveries was based on the foundation, how the discoveries went higher and higher, and how the modification went on, right? So about nanotechnology also you have read, even robotics also comes into picture. So you all got to know what are the modifications taken place from earlier inventions and what is at present, and what are the inventions or discoveries which is going on now. All those things, it's very interesting, students. So this session was all about the discoveries or inventions made by few of the scientists and how we have come into the modification. So let me all meet you in the next session. Have a good day. Thank you.